Welcome to the first devlog for Ethan's Watch. So this is a game that I've decided to start working on. It's basically a survival first-person shooter game in a zombie apocalypse. A lot of the inspiration I got for this game is from Project Zomboid, and this is just an assetsville town that I'm going to be using for a large portion of it. You can see it's pretty low poly, but it'll be good enough for what I'm going to be doing. Especially since I'm just a solo developer, so I really need to leverage a lot of the assets that I can. Anyway, so this is going to be in a post-apocalyptic world. They have multiple other assets that I'll probably purchase at some point, just to make the world larger. I want it to be very open world. And then I'm also going to be probably using character meshes from this other creator, these Toon Soldiers. And so these are one of the assets that I already bought from them. So I'm going to be using this for testing a little bit and just making sure that it kind of works well with the other world. And then I like it for the most part. It's not rigged to anything from the Unreal or from Epic Games. So it has its own unique animations, but the skeleton for it isn't too bad. So I'm hoping it won't be too hard to recreate any additional things I need to do. Also, from the same creator, they have these other assets. They have these Toon Zombies, which I think this will go pretty well with the aesthetic of the Assetville town that I'm going to be using, since everything's pretty low poly. And so right now what I'm going to be doing is just kind of editing the world a bit, and this is mostly just to kind of make sure that it kind of fits well. I'm just going to move things around, see how hard it is, how well things are put together. And so, but outside of that, the game itself, like I said, want to make it similar to Project Zomboid. It's going to be survival in a post-apocalyptic world. I also was watching a review of another game, I believe it's Dead Matter, and all the reviews I saw for that were actually pretty bad. So I'm hoping that I don't fall into some of the same issues that those developers were running into. One of which I believe is, which hurt them a lot, was scope creep. Especially since it's just me, I'm going to have to make sure that everything is relatively easy to make, and it's foundationally very well constructed. That way the scalability doesn't get too out of hand. This is actually going to be the first open world game I'm making. So I'm excited to see all the different learning curves and different things I have to learn in Unreal for that, mostly with the level partitioning and those systems that I haven't worked a super large amount with. Also with the procedural content generation, that is something that I'm hoping to do at least a little bit. That way I don't have to build out everything in the entire world. But stay tuned to see how all that goes. Right now I'm mostly just seeing how difficult it is to do everything by hand and kind of just getting a feel for what the world might look like. I'm not going to make this a multiplayer game to start with. Definitely just keeping it first person. I'm going to limit the number of other NPCs, probably just a handful, and that'll be part of that's critical to the story. But outside of that, it's basically just going to be you versus the zombies and the elements. But it'll have a fully dynamic, or I'm hoping to put a fully dynamic weather cycle, a day-night cycle, which I've already implemented in other games, so that shouldn't be too hard, and that's actually probably the first thing I'm going to work on. But overall it should be pretty straightforward as far as the gameplay itself. I haven't gone super in depth in thinking about how much of the crafting system I'm going to get into, just because that can be quite a long and extensive process. The level structure, on the other hand, you're going to have your main base that you have to, defend, and there's going to be other areas, residential homes, districts, industrial areas, things like that. And I'm hoping all of that will come together pretty well in the final build. So what's next? So I'll probably continue to mess around in this world just to show the build a little bit more. Keep editing things, try and seeing how things are, and how to create things. But the main goal, I think, after kind of getting a feel for the world and the different assets in it, is to make a new project and then start actually putting in a day-night cycle, and then maybe do some basic procedural generation content, and making sure the AI is actually working after that. And then I'll start building up from there. So I'm excited to see how this game turns out. I don't know how long it'll take, probably at least a year. But I'd love to hear your feedback and any ideas in the comments below. And until next time, stay safe and keep watching. Thanks.